Next up is our inductee in public service. Audie Murphy was the most decorated soldier in World War II and a movie star. Let's watch.
Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? And we will begin the questions with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you in show business?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you be considered a leading man? You must be from the applause.
I would answer yes, definitely.
If you are a motion picture actor who was featured in newspaper stories, would it have been as a result of your performances in World War II?
Mr. Cerf?
Are you Audie Murphy?
Audie Murphy.
Hollywood was understandably taken with Audie Murphy. He was young, personable, and had boyish good looks. By Hollywood standards, he was perfect for a country coming out of a world war and looking for heroes. In this regard, Audie Murphy stood apart. Audie Murphy became a national hero during World War II as the most decorated combat soldier of the war. Among his 33 awards were the Medal of Honor, the Distinguished Service Cross, the Silver Star, and several Purple Hearts. He was also decorated for bravery by the governments of France and Belgium. He returned home a hero, but an unlikely one. He was a shy, soft-spoken young man, the son of poor tenant farmers of Irish descent of Hunt County in northeast Texas. He was the seventh of 12 children. His father abandoned the family when Audie was in his teens, and his mother died shortly thereafter. He dropped out of school after 5th grade to help his family make ends meet. Picked cotton, worked as a gas jockey, and thanks to his skill with a rifle, he kept food on the table and became the father figure for his family. After the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, Mr. Murphy tried to enlist in the Navy and the Marines, but was rejected because he was underweight and underage. A sister helped him alter his birth certificate so he could enlist at age 17. And in June 1942, he was inducted into the United States Army. Murphy received the Medal of Honor, the highest award for bravery that a soldier can receive. For valor demonstrated at the age of 19, for single-handedly holding off an entire company of German soldiers in France and then leading a successful counterattack. At war's end, he was celebrated throughout the United States for his wartime exploits. He appeared on the cover of Life magazine as America's most decorated soldier. In 1949, he was cast in his first leading role and began a 21-year film career. His performance in his own story, To Hell and Back, was Universal Studios' biggest hit until Jaws. His 2 collaborations with fellow Irish-American Hall of Fame member John Huston, The Red Badge of Courage and The Unforgiven, remain classics of the 20th century cinema. He married Pamela Archer, with whom he had 2 sons, Terry Michael and James Skipper Murphy.
Good evening. America's most decorated soldier of World War II, Audie Murphy, used to refer modestly to himself as a fugitive from the law of averages. Now it appears the law of averages has caught up with Audie Murphy. On a wooded mountain near Roanoke, Virginia this afternoon, rescue workers found 6 bodies and no survivors in the remains of a private plane. The 46-year-old Murphy and a group of business.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are honoured to induct Major Audie Murphy into the 2017 Irish American Hall of Fame in the field of public service.
Here to accept the award for Audie Murphy is Major General Richard Hayes, Adjutant General of the Illinois National Guard.
Good evening. I am Major General Richard Hayes. I am 100% Irish and very proud of it. You know, my presence here tonight, I'm humbled. This Audie Murphy is a superstar, a superhero. Hero amongst all the heroes we have in this country. And I always like starting out when I get a chance to address the audience. Can veterans, if you could raise your hand for me, please, if you're a veteran. I do that for a simple reason. I think if Audie Murphy could be here today, he would be so humbled, he would say it was about everybody else. Everybody else helped him be as successful as he was. Coming here tonight, I spent quite a bit of time going back, and I clearly know who Audie Murphy is, being in the Army, but I wanted to go back and look a little deeper. And I tried to understand, how can someone like him, he self-protested after the war, just an average guy, clearly very handsome. You look at him, you wouldn't think he was that tough. He was the toughest son of a bitch in World War II. That's right. And I asked myself, I was trying to reflect on what was about him, what drove him to be so fearless. Because at the end of the day, this guy was fearless. He feared nothing. And it showed in all his actions, and it showed in all the awards he was given. And I reflect on the horrible childhood he had. You know, his father wasn't present. He had his brothers and sisters. His mom died when he was 16. He had to feed the kids, his brothers and sisters, and figure that out. And then just not even a year and a half later, he goes to join the Army to fight in World War II. And I thought about, you know, he probably grew up in such a tough environment. He was amazingly resilient in everything he did. Because how could you be so tough? Well, to me, in my eyes, he probably went through a hell of a lot that we all probably didn't experience as kids. And that's sad. And a story that's not told, it wasn't in the film, but and we all know today, and we can go back through every war, post-traumatic stress disorder, if you want to call it that. He struggled with that after the war immensely, all the way up until his death, and that was a story that wasn't told. And today, we don't hide that in the military. It was bad. You don't come forward. Don't tell the bad stuff, because what's in your head, well, what's in your head is a sickness like any other illness, and we got to address it. And you think about suicide. You think about suicides, you know, if you get ill, take care of yourself, and the military has definitely changed. But for me to be here, here's the sad part about why I'm standing here tonight. We couldn't find the Murphy family to have anybody come tonight. Nobody could be found. And I heard that only when I arrived this evening, and I'm saddened by it. Now I'm going to be on a mission to find the family to make sure that this gets to them. And I guess in closing, I'm amazed at all the other awardees. Your service in the Coast Guard, sir, thank you very much for your service. And to Bill Murray, I didn't get to do this earlier, but I grew up in Wilmette as well. 1920 Thornwood, just around the corner from you all. So we knew of you. I was probably that young kid you didn't even notice, but I was around occasionally. So, but thank you for allowing me to accept this. And if anybody in the audience can help us in this mission to find the Murphys, I think we need to do that, because it's the least we can do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Major General Hayes, for being here to accept the award for Audie Murphy, and thank you for your service.